I'm Julian.
Hi, I'm Alice, and we're from InvestaCrowd. Our goal at InvestaCrowd is to provide real estate investment opportunities.
And this is our weekly wrap-up of all things crowdfunding. We talk about companies, deals, and regulations with a global perspective and a big focus on Asia, which leads us to the first news article of the day, which is, the announcement of a capital markets license for retail investors into one of the P2P lending websites called Sense here in Singapore. I think the significance of that is, I believe it's the first platform that is gone for a retail license, allowing both accredited investors and retailers. And maybe we should sort of get into that today to define for the viewers what the difference is between the two in some of our key markets.
Right. So the distinction between retail and accredited investors is purely financial based. If we're talking about Singapore, the definition of an accredited investor is an individual who has net assets of $2 million Singapore and an annual income of $300,000 in the preceding 12 months. And our other target market is the US, and the definition there is an individual with a net asset of $1 million US and an income of $200,000 for the preceding 2 years. And the definition in Australia is a 2.5 million Australian dollars in net assets and $250,000 in income for the previous 12 months. Now, as you can see, it's purely a financial status definition, and it doesn't necessarily mean that someone who falls under that threshold isn't a sophisticated investor. So there's some issues there. And
it sounds like you have some issues with that.
I think that putting a financial category to allow eligibility into crowdfunding is one method of doing it, but there has to be some flexibility to allow other sophisticated investors who do not fall within those guidelines.
So, I think the US has led the way. It took many years, I think, of discussions in government, but after about 6 years or so, I think they enacted this year the Jobs Act, which allowed retail investors under certain requirements and caps to the ability to invest alongside these accredited investors. Do you think that's a good thing, A, and do you think that you're going to see that happening in developed markets around the world following suit or not?
Well, actually, we are seeing other developed markets follow suit or proposing similar legislation. For example, in Australia, there's a proposed regulation to allow retail investors into crowdfunding campaigns. That's equity crowdfunding, so for profit. And I think there was a restriction on the maximum amount of investment per company, and that was about $10,000 per company by each investor.
I think from the platform's perspective, everyone wants to make sure they're legitimate, but obviously, it's very debatable. The number that has been chosen that distinguishes someone between being the accredited and the retail, those numbers are probably set a long time ago and maybe need some updates, but that's not for us to decide.
That's right. And that wraps it up for us this week. If you're interested in real estate crowdfunding, please sign up at investorcrowd.com.
Thanks for watching. See you next week.